This episode of the Design Your Dream Home podcast is brought to you by CRAN. CRAN is the Custom Residential Architects Network, and by Porcelanosa. Porcelanosa is a luxury lifestyle brand that brings modern European design into your home. You are listening to the Design Your Dream Home podcast with Doug and Steve. Doug and Steve are architects, and they're here to help you design your dream home.
Alrighty, so our second interview here at the ALA conference in Chicago, that's Association for Licensed Architects.
Yes, it is.
Steven Besch from Besch Design.
Correct.
And you're based out of Chicago?
Yep.
Fantastic. So tell me about your office.
We work on residential projects. It's just me. I'm a sole practitioner.
Cool.
And I do virtually any aspect of the residential design. I do renovations, additions, and new single families, as well as smaller multifamilies.
Okay.
So the mixed-use multifamilies that are kind of infill in the city, commercial on the first floor, 2 or 3 units above. So that's the type of work I do.
Why did you, I'm just curious, why be a sole practitioner? I mean, I did lots of this too, so I appreciate it, but why are you a sole practitioner?
Probably just more control. It's my ideas. I get to work with the clients how I want to work with them. I get to bring my aspect of stuff to things. And I really actually enjoy working with homeowners. Younger, I didn't think I'd be in the residential aspect, but as I started working, I got more into it. I actually really enjoy it. I mean, I like working through homeowners' problems and trying to find them solutions and get them, try to help them see their vision in the end.
So you don't like the idea of getting the job and then passing it off to some junior architect and letting them deal with the problems?
Not really. Not really. You get it all. So you get the joy of working with somebody, but you also, like you said, you get the problems. You get the calls from the contractors, and you can deal with them directly. And I think you take responsibility for it, and you own it.
As a sole practitioner, it's only you, so that means you're probably pretty strong at design. You can probably do really construction drawings. You're able to oversee construction, so it means you have to be actually pretty good in a lot of phases, where in a larger office, they sort of identify what it is you're strong at, and they sort of keep you in that place. So is that something would you say that's true?
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, you have to be sort of good at a lot of different areas.
You got to know every aspect of the project.
You think it's like a positive that a homeowner is looking for an architect or designer? Let's say I go to an office that's got 10 people in it, and maybe I'm not sure who I'm going to work with, that they know that if I hire you, I'm going to work with you directly. Is that a selling point?
I think it is a selling point. I think it actually helps. And I give that to every client that I meet with. When you first meet with me, I tell them I will be at every meeting. I'm the one doing the drawings. I'm the one doing the design. I'm doing all of it.
Are there any other benefits besides just getting you, me working directly with, let's say, the principal? Does it cost more? Does it cost less? I mean, sometimes I see a principal cost, X, whereas a junior staffer costs X, and I say, am I paying you to do stair details, or I don't know, something that's sort of more menial in the overall scheme of things?
I don't think so. I think it balances itself out. Most jobs I work on a fixed fee, so I can I have a kind of an established timeline of how things work, and I know exactly what I'm going to put in the drawings. There are some jobs that are hourly, where it's just a little bit more open, or the client may not know exactly what they want to do, and they're looking for just some ideas and to push them along a little bit.
Okay, sorry about that. A little intro. This is what happens when you do these mobile podcasts, but why don't you continue?
The advantages to me are, like I said, are working directly with a client and being able to take responsibility for it all. I mean, the other advantages as a sole practitioner are I can make my own hours, and I can, leave when I want, and I don't have to work for, not fixed on a clock and stuff like that. Downside is sometimes you're working into the evenings.
Right.
There's sometimes longer hours when deadlines, because you're the only one responsible for doing it.
Right. Yeah. For homes, I find that obviously, let's say a client has a day job. They both have day jobs, let's say, and they want to meet in the evening. So often meetings are going till 9:00 at night or what have you, and that's just that's just the way it goes, right? Or
yes.
Weekends.
There's a lot of meetings in the evening. I try to get evening meetings versus the weekends.
Yeah.
I will do Saturday mornings if I have to, but I've been in the business now, 30 years, but on my own almost 19. And I just try to keep my weekends free as much as I can.
Yeah.
But I do I will give clients all the time during the week. My kids are older, so I have the time now to, if I have to meet at 5 and it goes to 7 or 8, it's fine.
Right. No, that's one of the hazards, but that's just one of the realities of what we do. I mean, I think that the meetings those meetings often can be quite long because you may have partners that don't agree on everything, and I often sort of watch back and forth for a little bit as you sort of see see the process unfold about what it is that people want in their homes.
Yeah, you do. It's funny. Even couples have been married many, many years. You see different sides of them come out, and they admit it. Different sides come out because everybody has their own taste, and it's not always there early on in a relationship.
Right.
But when you're designing a house or designing an addition, specifically actually a single family, where you literally have to pick out every single thing.
Right.
You're picking out your tile, your flooring, your cabinets, your light fixtures.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming for a lot of people. We try to get interior designers involved, but sometimes budget constraints don't allow that, or they just want to do it themselves. Sometimes there's a little bit of fighting words, but generally what I find myself, I just try to ease them through everything, guide them through that. That's one of my, that's kind of the underlying job. I'm not just designing it, but I'm trying to also guide them. Sometimes you have clients with very fixed ideas, and you give them the pros and cons of all that stuff, and then you try to work through it.
This episode of the Design Your Dream Home podcast is brought to you by Crayon. Crayon is the Custom Residential Architects Network. Crayon is the leading resource and voice for architects who focus on collaborative design with homeowners. Crayon provides support, advocacy, and education for custom residential projects, as well as professional development for its members via forums, symposia, publications, and local activities. To learn more about Crayon, visit www.aia.org/Crayon. This episode of the Design Your Dream Home podcast is brought to you by Porcelanosa. With 30 showrooms in the United States and Canada, Porcelanosa is a luxury lifestyle brand that'll make your next project's dream into a reality. From a wide selection of tiles and mosaics to modern bathroom and kitchen cabinetry designs, Porcelanosa makes it easy to bring modern European design elements into your home. Visit porcelanosa-usa.com to learn more.
Yeah, I think that I was amazed. I've got a client, and she asked me during this phone call we had, this conference call with everybody, she said, is it okay if we do this to the kitchen? And she was afraid of offending me in my design. And I said, this is your kitchen. I mean, you don't be afraid to ask those kind of questions. I just thought it was I was surprised that she had said that. And I think maybe she thought that it was me and she didn't want to disturb or disrupt the design. And I said, this is your kitchen. You have to tell me that you want something a certain way, or this will make you happier. I mean, I don't want you to be unhappy with, just to execute my design. This is your house. You're going to live here, not me. So
exactly.
I found it surprising.
Exactly. One of the things I get a lot of questions. Do you design in a certain style? And I don't. I've done contemporary. I've done very traditional. I've done prairie style. I've done different designs because my belief is that I'm designing for a client. Like you said, it's their home. I'm not living in it. I have a completely different taste than most of my clients do. Personally, I would have more of a contemporary home. Big glass, some nice wood, exposed, stuff like that. I have a lot of clients who it's very, very traditional, very symmetrical. I had a client recently, this picture she sent me, her ideas were very much more modern, contemporary. But the one fixed thing she wanted on the front of the house is to be completely symmetrical, which was completely against everything that I had been seeing in the pictures she sent me. So, I design for each client. I don't pick and force anything onto anybody. And I encourage them to always ask questions. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you tell me you don't like it. We've been through architecture school. We had a lot of that when we were in college. If you're offended, don't get in the business.
I tell students this often when, let's say that through a critique, maybe their proposed design is problematic and there's so many things that are not right with it, and come up with something else, and they get really upset. And I think part of it is that yes, maybe think it's not as strong as it could be, but it's because they don't really have a lot more ideas there. I think they thought that was the only idea they really had. And over time, you start to sort of see there's so many different ways to approach a problem. And so someone says, hey, I'm not loving this. You say, okay, that's fine. I've got 12 more ideas. Don't worry. We can hit it another way. So I think that comes with time. And I think that for all involved, it's a process. I think that it's important to know that it's going to take time, and it sort of has to be teased out. Things that you show me on day one, some images, and on a year later, they sort of emerge that actually there's only some aspects about that you wanted, and there's other things that are more important because I've got to know you, and I think you'd be happier if this happened, and it has to be teased out, I think, and it's having confidence that in having a trusted partner, a designer that you can talk to and kind of work through these things. And ultimately, it would be nice if we don't try to just build the picture that you gave me in the first day. I mean, that's someone else's house. Why don't we try to find something for you that maybe we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but if we get to know each other, trust each other, share back and forth over the next year or whatever it's going to be, that finally it is your house. It's going to look like what you want. It's going to be what you wanted. And it's really important to have that trusted partner.
Yes, right? I truly believe that. You have to be able to work with these guys, and you're interpreting.
Yeah.
You have to interpret because a lot of people, they just can't get across what their ideas really are.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always told, "Oh, you can draw so well." Well, that's just my background. That's our training. But I think a lot of people have a difficult time getting that on. And it's just like you said, it may take a year, it may take a couple months, it may take a couple weeks. But it's the process you have to go through. A lot of people have a hard time with that. Mm-hmm. But I think once they understand that it's just we'll get there.
Right.
We will definitely get to where you want, but we got to go through some steps to get there.
Yeah, I have a kind of he's an engineering kind of businessy kind of guy, and he wants to solve the problem right away. I say, don't worry, it'll come. And I think it makes him crazy. And I say, just relax. I mean, this is when I was a student. I don't want to belittle, but it's just that he wants to come to an answer so quickly.
Right.
I said, don't rush that. It's going to take a little bit of time to tease it out. We'll figure it out. Let's continue to kind of collect the materials, meaning precedents, images, ideas. Think about all the things that you're dreaming about. Let's keep bringing them to the table. And let's sort of figure out really let's condense it, let's sort of synthesize it, and it'll come out. We'll tease it out. Yeah. So it takes time.
And a lot of it is what's the most important part of it.
Okay.
What's the most important aspect of this renovation or this design? And once you get to the core of that really helps it.
Do homeowners come to you with images like from Pinterest or Houzz and
all the time?
And they bombard you with here's 80 kitchens that I like, and do you say okay, how do I make sense of this? Or
Yeah. And sometimes I encourage it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when I have some who have a difficult time getting across what they really like. Mm-hmm. So I encourage them. Actually, Houzz, I think, is a very good platform. Mm-hmm. It is also, you have to understand where we live. I work in Chicago. Okay. Most of my stuff is in the Chicago metro area.
Yeah.
So we have strong winters. We have hot summers.
Yeah.
We have it's when you start sending or picking out those ideas of California homes, the big open stuff.
Right.
Okay, that's great,
yeah.
But you're only going to get that 3 months of the year.
Right.
So we can try to incorporate some of that, but we also got to think of the fact that our climate, where we live, is a little bit of a driving force in our overall design.
The budget.
And then the budget.
Yeah, and also just trying to be wary of this Frankenstein type of potential that exists where someone grabs a bedroom from a Mexican house and a bathroom from somebody saw in Paris and something. These are all the things I like. It's that's fantastic, but we don't want Frankenstein. We want to try to figure out how to make this your home. So let's try to find what's the essence of those images that you're seeing that you like, and maybe actually in the bathroom it's not the materials, it's really just that light or sense of openness or something. So try to figure out what those qualities are in each of the images you're bringing. So it takes a little bit of interpretation, but I think that's. I guess it's better to have those images than not, but it can be overwhelming when people send me mountains of images and say, "This is what I like." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Right?
It can be very overwhelming. Yes, I had a client recently who gave me all kinds of different things, and they were all over the board. So it took a while to break it down, and we picked parts out of it that have been essentially what they were sending me were parts of houses that they liked. Not really the whole house. So
all right, so Steve, we are getting kicked out right now. Do you want to give us some information for our homeowners and your website or how to reach you, learn more about you?
Yeah, I'm with Steve Besch again with Besch Design. You can see my website at www.beschdesign.com, and Besch is BESCH design.com, and 773-736-1506 is my phone number. I'm happy to talk to any client at any time. Call me with questions. Email me with questions. I'm happy to talk.
So Besch Design. So we had someone coming in here, so I'm interrupting with Besch Design?
Yeah, Besch Design Limited is the company.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Design Your Dream Home podcast with Doug and Steve. If you have any questions or want to give us any feedback on the show, feel free to reach us through our website at thedougandsteveshow.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.